I'm at Killantringan, just by the lighthouse. This vlog's a bit different from previous ones. I'm not going to go into detail of all the places that you can stay in the area on this one. Maybe come back and do that another time. We're just away with the family for a few nights at the moment. So I'm just going to concentrate in the vlog on a couple of the places that we stayed on this trip. It's Friday and we've come away for a long weekend. The kids finished school early, but we still didn't manage to get away until nearly 5 o'clock. So we couldn't go very far. First stop off is at Loch Doon in Ayrshire. Nearly dark when we arrived last night. This spot is just north of Loch Doon Castle. We initially carried on past the castle for a little way, looking at some other spots that I'd got in mind, but we came back to this one. There wasn't really much chance to look around last night, but when I got up in the morning I was really pleased with the spot that we picked. This is only my second visit to Loch Doon. I came last year on my way down to visit my son and stopped off to take some photos. This was my favourite of the day. I just love the way the surface of the waters come out and the way the island is highlighted in the pool of light. Just coming into view on the right hand side of the screen is the remains of Loch Doon Castle. They obviously had good foresight to build it right next to the car park. Interestingly, that's not where the castle was originally built. It originally stood on an island in the middle of the loch, but when the area was flooded for a hydroelectric scheme in the 1930s, they actually dismantled the castle from the island and rebuilt it in its present location. During the Second World War, a Spitfire flown by a Czech pilot on a training flight out of Heathfield near Ayr crashed into the loch. It took over 40 years for the wreckage to be recovered, but it was gradually rebuilt and is now in the Dumfries Galloway Aviation Museum. Unfortunately, the pilot's body has never been found. Before moving on to our next location, I just wanted to show you this little picnic area that's just by the turn off to Loch Doon off the main road. Nice little picnic spot just here, next to the main road. Little stream running by. The van park just over there. Our next park up is Newton Farm campsite, overlooking Fleet Bay near Gatehouse of Fleet on the Solway Firth. Never been here before, but I have to say it's a fantastic location. I found it on the internet just a few days before we set off. There was a beautiful sunset on Saturday night, although it was very windy, but I was determined to sit out and have a campfire. Sunday morning was nice and bright and a lot less windy, so we went for a walk on the beach with the dogs and I flew the drone. As you can see, it's an absolutely lovely beach with lots of sand and rocks. In common with most of the places along the Solway Firth, it's very gently sloping, so the water goes out quite a long way, which is great for the kids because they can paddle out quite a distance without it getting too deep. I was really tempted to get out the inflatable canoe, but I kind of missed the opportunity when the tide was in earlier. I didn't really fancy dragging it all that way down the beach, and it was still a little bit chilly as well. It cost us £10 a night to stay here, and in my opinion it was worth every penny. Absolutely fantastic. There's a drinking water tap just by the gateway and a chemical toilet disposal point in the corner over there. As you can see, Sunday night is shaping up for another nice sunset. So a bit earlier I went and collected some sticks and driftwood off the beach and got out the folding barbecue again for another campfire. The folding barbecue is great. It packs down into its own little bag as well, so it stops all your other things getting dirty when you put it away. If you fancy one for yourself, I'll put a link in the description below. Before I leave this area, just wanted to mention Auchenlarie Holiday Park. It's just a couple of miles further along the coast. It's got more facilities than Newton Farm. It's got a shop and a clubhouse and a swimming pool. I brought the motorhome here a couple of times last year, spent a couple of weeks in total. There's a nice little sandy cove, but it's a very steep track that leads down there. There's also a little slipway and we went down there with the canoes for some fun. An interesting thing happened one evening. I'd been down to the beach walking the dogs and I was just coming back up the steep path when a couple of teenage lads caught up with me. They asked if there was a lifeguard on duty, which there wasn't, and when I asked them what the problem was, the rest of their family were down on the beach and had become separated from their dog by the incoming tide, and a couple of guys had gone into the water to try and rescue the dog. So I phoned the Coast Guard and explained the situation, but that wasn't even simple because the really patchy mobile phone coverage meant that my call got routed to the Holyhead Coast Guard Centre on Anglesey rather than the Belfast one that covers this area of coastline. So it was all a bit of a game of Chinese whispers. The boys were on the phone to their mum down on the beach who was separated from the dog and the guys that had gone to rescue it. I was on the phone to the wrong Coast Guard office, so they were relaying all the details to Belfast, who called out the inshore lifeboat. But before the lifeboat arrived, the family and the dog all managed to get back together in safety, and they all lived happily ever after. So Auchenlarie is a fantastic spot for a family holiday. Just like anywhere next to the water, you do need to be careful. It's got more facilities than Newton Farm, but it is more expensive. On the whole, for me, I prefer Newton Farm, but it just depends what you're looking for. Returning to this year's trip now and moving back inland. This is Knocktinkle Viewpoint. Nice parking area. Not the nicest day today, but way in the distance over there you can just about see the sea. And then looking out across the hillside over that way. I found this as a likely spot on Google Maps. Just about 3 miles from Knocktinkle Viewpoint. Lovely quiet spot. A nice view over the open hillside over there. What about this for a spectacular spot? On the cliffs right above Killantringan Bay. So that's it for this trip. Our final stop, a lovely spot on top of the cliffs next to Killantringan Lighthouse looking out over the bay. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and if you haven't already seen them, have a look at my other videos in my Seen Scotland in a Motorhome series.